I know I'm a little bit late with the community video, and I'm trying to get back into the schedule where it's actually happening every month, and hopefully at some point this month that will happen. But for now, here is the community video for August, and I asked you, what was your favorite Zelda character across the entire series? And this is what you said. Tactical Pops. Toon Link, because I love his facial expressions and his overall cartoony nature. That's one of the best things about Wind Waker in general, is looking at Toon Link's expressions. So expressive. Like, can I just say this right now? Like I think that making thumbnails for Wind Waker was the easiest thing in the world, because everyone in that game does the best expressions in the world. It's really great. Elena Allman. My favorite character is Midna. From the character design to her character development, I think she's a solid companion to have in a Zelda game. I love Midna. Of course, I get really emotional when I think about Midna. Great character, comes along with a great soundtrack as well. Really cool design. I love how, like as you said, how she develops throughout the game. It just really makes, not only makes sense, but it's a lot of fun to watch, and there's a lot of emotional beats too. Thackeray Scroggins. Snickerdoodles, this is hard. Wait, what? Snickerdoodles? What's a snickerdoodle? What's a snickerdoodle? Probably Wind Waker Link. He's got such a personality, and he's highly expressive. You feel for him when he leaves the island and when he loses his sister. He's funny, relatable, and just fun. I love him. He's great. Yeah, like I said, Toon Link gets across so much in just so little with his facial expressions. Again, he can make you cry too. While he's very funny and very over the top, like there's some stuff like when he's waving goodbye to the island, or when at the end of the game when he's like, oh, well, I won't spoil it for anyone who hasn't played it. But there's really a good way to make people feel good with this. It's actually is kind of you know, he's an emotional character while being very expressive and cartoony. Ghidorah. Ganondorf. I love pretty much everything about him, even his Ganon forms. He feels like a real threat, and the way he just casually playing an organ when you confront him in Ocarina of Time is absolutely perfect. In Twilight Princess, he just radiates an aura of an absolute power when he's sitting on the throne waiting for you. Ganon is, I would say, top 10 villains of all time in video games. I feel like anyone who disagrees, I don't know what we can say. I don't know what we can talk about. I think the people who do disagree just never want to play Zelda or don't want to play Zelda. I was one of those people that was like, I don't need to play The Legend of Zelda. That series is you know, it's just really popular for some reason. I don't know. And then I played it, and every single time you meet Ganon in all those games, he has this aura and this presence that makes you feel as Ghidorah said, it makes you feel like you are in serious shit. Scrawny Tony. Morshu from the CDI games. I heard the CDI games are actually the best of the best. BSD Kuyo's wife. My favorite Zelda character has always been Naburu. She's just amazing, and I care about her. That's actually not a bad pick. That's not a bad pick. I will say that like a lot of the extra characters I don't like. If you're talking about like anything in Skyward Sword, I'm there. Anything in Skyward Sword, and for sure. I think that just sometimes extra characters are hard for me to latch onto when the story to me in Zelda is so important, but it's really cool seeing people picking characters that aren't just you know, the main few as well, which are also awesome. Carl Pruitt. None of these fools' opinions matter. Giram is gorgeous and is the best. Hashtag sponsored. Graham is the best. He's such a good character, one of the best villains ever in Zelda. And the thing is I'll probably get killed for this, but this is just my opinion. It's just my opinion. I'm not trying to discredit anyone else's opinion. But personally, with Graham, I am making a top 10 villainous, by the way. I should probably say that right now. Spoiler, Graham is higher than Ganon for me. Okay, let's move on before I get killed. Link, the Hero of Wind. Toon Zelda from The Legend of Zelda Spirit Tracks. Such a fantastic pick. Such a funny and great character to hang around with. We can say expressive is a word that we use a lot in the Zelda games because they're really good animation, but she's so funny, and I've never seen a personality like this for Zelda, and they really go all out. It really is the opposite of what she's been in previous games. She's really fun to be around, and I love being around her. Jodor R. I haven't played many Zelda games, but so far my favorite is Skull Kid from Majora's Mask. Talk about emotional. A really emotional setting, a really emotional character. A character that's really annoying at first, but you grow to kind of care about as the game goes on, because I feel even the worst characters in the world you can relate to, even the characters that annoy you most, you should try to relate to. Even if a character's so abhorrently evil, there's always going to be something that you can relate to. And that's what, this is so cheesy to say, but that's what my English teacher always taught me. When we were doing Macbeth, he was like, Macbeth's pretty evil, right? And everyone's like, yeah. He's like, okay, write an essay on how you relate to him. And it's like, okay, like, you know, and it works so well because you think about that stuff. And like, you're like, oh, well, like he's pretty ambitious. And like, I like to feel like I'm ambitious too. And all that things like that, I guess. And with Skull Kid, it's very hard not to feel for him as the game goes on. The Ultimate Diamond. My favorite Zelda character is definitely Ravio from A Link Between Worlds. They're a fun character throughout the game with a very unique design with a twist. And his twist genuinely surprised me a little. I'll be honest, I played that game back in 2015, I don't remember much about it. If I could replay it on, like, if I could replay it by emulating it on the, like, on a PC, I would totally replay it on the channel. But for now, I don't remember who you're talking about. And I apologize so much. I really do apologize, even though I have played that game and I did enjoy it. I thought that was a really fun game when I played it. Kelsey Kirsten. Twilight Princess Link. Great choice. I think that the game did a fantastic job of showing his life as a farmhand before his shit hit the fan. And even though he is the chosen hero by the gods, you can still see him actually making a choice to save Hyrule. He doesn't know what danger he'll be facing and he endeavors on anyway. The game really makes an effort to humanize him, though he is silent, and I love the facial expressions and emotions that he portrays. I think that era of Link, of Skyward Sword, Breath of the Wild, and Twilight Princess, and I grouped them together for a reason, because I think those three Links, for me, are the Links that honestly, like, I would say, maybe apart from, like, Spirit Tracks, I think that, like, they are, like, kind of kindred spirits with how, like, expressive and emotional they become. Expressive is such a word we're going to be using a lot today because the animators, as I said, in Zelda are fantastic. But Twilight Princess Link, from the very beginning, has a warmth to him, and I agree with you, Kelsey. He has like such a great warmth to him, and like such a great kindness that just radiates off him. It feels good to play as him, and he's a very brave dude as well. Very brave, because you can tell that he's scared sometimes, but he keeps going. He keeps going. Dylan Sinjwald. Groose. Need I say more? But in all seriousness though, he's my favorite. Definitely Groose. Welcome to Grooseland. Ruled by Groose. Population Groose. Groose is surprisingly one of the greatest Zelda characters ever. What Skyward Sword is so good at doing is developing characters, and throughout that game, Groose is one of those characters that at the beginning you're like, this guy's the most fucking annoying person I've ever heard of in my life. Get out of my face. To the end, like, there's episodes where I was bawling over Groose, like crying over Groose. Why am I crying over like this big orange-haired dude who was like bullying me? And it's not only him as well. There's development in his side, like in Colin and Stritch as well, like his side bullies as well. And I really think that like towards the end of that game and throughout the game, you start to really get a feeling of who Groose really is. Cyber Gaming. There are a lot of characters that I love in the Zelda universe, but my favorite will always be Graham from Sky. I know I'm saying Graham, by the way, it's an inside joke. You should all get it by now. I just love his design and his personality. That's something we didn't talk about with Graham before. He's one of my favorite villains of all time, but also his design is just so freaking good. Like, they went all out with matching a personality with the design. I think that, again, I know Zelda's already good at that. They're really good at matching designs with, like, and the perfect example is Skyward Sword Zelda versus Twilight Princess Zelda versus Spirit Track Zelda. The more crazy, expressive, and funny, and I keep using the word expressive because, again, I'm sorry. The most crazy and fun and, like, out there Zelda looks like that. Toon Zelda, you know? And then you have, like, Twilight Princess Zelda, who is stoic and honorable and knows who she is, and that's there. The brown hair, the very dark and dim tones with the paler skin. She really is like this really stoic character that matches her design as well. And same with Skyward Sword Zelda. A more fun-loving Zelda. She's very, very kind of like, has an open-faced, very honest. And I feel like they do such a good job of matching that. And Graham's perfect too, in that sense, because his outlandish behavior really matches his over-the-top outfits and beautiful hair. It matches so well. It's so good. Dermot Lyons. Linebeck, do I even need to explain? He's just incredible. Another character that just like develops so well, and that's why the that's why the DS games are so underrated. They're so, and I don't care. I know everyone says things are underrated nowadays. That's underrated, that's overrated. I hate the term overrated more than underrated, because this is underrated. They are so underrated. They're so good, and I wish that I could play them. I will play them again someday. But especially like in Phantom Hourglass, the fact that people just like throw that game to the side and like will never acknowledge how good Linebeck is in that game, it just really kind of hurts me. It hurts me. Sam Corcoran. I really enjoyed Mipha from Breath of the Wild. Breath of the Wild has some good characters too. Mystic Thoron. Man, Always with the tough questions, Calvin. I honestly haven't played much Zelda games. Even though I'm a huge Nintendo fan, I just haven't gotten to playing many of them. I've only played like 3 of them, but I totally want to play more of them. But if I had to choose one character that I like most of all in the Zelda games that I played, I'd have to say Malon from Ocarina of Time. A very sweet, open and honest character. I love her to death as well. There's certain characters in Zelda that, like, when you're with them or you're around them, you feel ultimately calm. You never feel like you can feel like you can never be harmed, and that's one of the things in Malon. She's a really great character. Moodle, shy guy from The Legend of Zelda: Link's Awakening. Yes. That's actually your pick. Fair play to you. Dinosaur recycle. Dinosaurs recycle. Oh wow. Do they? Man, this one was hard since there's so many great characters to choose from, and after much consideration I chose Linebeck from Phantom Hourglass. Great pick. His hilarious personality makes every moment he is on screen so full of joy for me. Even though I personally am not a big fan of Phantom Hourglass, which is fine, I haven't played it in years. I can never not love Linebeck. I still remember laughing at almost everything he did in the game. Him shaking Link until he's dizzy when he first met him is burned into my memory. The fact that Linebeck's theme is one of my favorite one of my favorite songs of all time, game songs of all time, doesn't hurt either. This is exactly what I'm saying. You can not like Phantom Hourglass, but don't disregard Linebeck. That's a great way of putting it. Don't disregard that beautiful character. Shimmering Bass. I like a lot of characters, so that's a really tough one. I was about to say that it's a tie between insert 5 to 10 characters, but it's gonna have to be Midna. Although this may change depending on my mood. That's fine. Like, the thing is, like my favorite games of all time change depending on my mood as well sometimes, apart from Shadow of the Colossus, which will always be number 1. But yeah, like, Midna's a great character. I love Midna to death. I wish that I could really, like, I wish that, like, we could have another bit of time with her, but I think that's why it's so good, because when you say goodbye, it's really goodbye. And that's why I never really want Twilight Princess 2. Don't shoot me, please. Just Brandon, okay? The version of Link that says, "Excuse me, princess." Am I a joke to you, Brandon? Great pick. Shen Kazo. My favorite Zelda character in terms of story and design. My favorite Zelda character in terms of story design. Her characters improve with what happens in the story. Enjoy that sassy. Wait, what? My favorite Zelda character in terms of story and design. Her character improved with what happens in the story. Enjoy that sassy. Jen, I think you maybe forgot to put the... I think you might have forgot to put the actual name of the character. But if you're saying sassy... Midna or Spear Track Zelda, maybe? I'm sorry if I'm reading it wrong and I'm just an idiot, because that does happen. But please clarify and put down below so I can talk to you about it. Kai alone? Kai alone. Kai alone. It might sound like an odd answer, but my favorite character is Chancellor Colt. Whoa! It's not that he's a good guy or anything, but he's just fun as a character to me. I really like his design and how he's a major antagonist who actually is just a lesser demon minion who had to hide among humans for years to set up his plan. He's a great foil to Spirit Tracks, Zelda 2, allowing for some nice characterization with her too. That's just what I was saying above. It's perfectly fine to like bad characters. It's fiction. You know, it's fiction. You don't have to like hate bad characters, and you can hate what they do and still respect that they're an amazing character. I truly feel that way. Digichu. Definitely Midna. I love her witty attitude and overall design. She has a great character development too, going from using Link as a tool at the start to really caring about him later on. Yes, there's moments like where Midna, like at the beginning, literally is pulling the ears off of Link and like hurting him and laughing at him, to later on in the game where she's literally asking, "Are you okay? Are you feeling good?" And saying thank you, emotionally saying thank you, something she didn't do at the starting. And she felt like she was owed everything at the start of the game, and then she's saying thank you, like really respectfully to Link. Great. Daniel Garcia. I haven't played more than one Zelda game, so I don't think I'm qualified to say anything. Well, Daniel, you're always qualified to say anything. It's okay, Daniel. You can say whatever you want. Coda. Probably Midna, to be honest. Yeah. Again, we talked about Midna a lot. She's a fantastic character. Negalator. You are my favorite Zelda character, Calvin. Thank you. Thank you. I wish I was a Zelda character. I wish I won a competition to be in Skyward Sword, like the remaster. I'd be a character who like lives like on one of the mini islands. I'm like, "Hey, it's me, Calvin." Like, that's all I say for the whole game. And they're like, "Hey, do you know where I can get to the shop?" "It's me, Calvin." So yeah, exactly. I want to say that as well. Like, I want to talk about like Skyward Sword in general. I'm making a whole video on Skyloft too. Look for that very soon. And how Skyloft is fucking amazing. Don't at me. Andrew Estelle Herrero. Skyward Sword Zelda, cause cute. 110%, she is adorable. Adorable is Skyward Sword Zelda. I love her too. She's one of my favorite Zeldas. Only Sage. There's so many. I'd usually go for a bad guy since Graham is fabulous as hell, but I'm gonna choose Midna here because there's so much depth to her character and her development throughout the game was awesome. She's so unique from the moment you first meet her until the moment she reveals her true and beautiful self. She keeps changing and evolving, not to forget her super cool design. I shed a tear when she left. You just can't hate her. Exactly. I agree. 100%. And I think this like kind of mirrors what I was saying earlier. She is a very unique character. But again, like the reason why it's so sweet when she leaves and so emotional is because we didn't have a lot of time with her. And I think that's probably why this game is so freaking good. Oi, my name is Rick. Midna was cool. Yeah. Cans. Midna, if you disagree, you're objectively wrong. Cans, what the fuck? Cans! No, yeah, Midna is winning here. It is a competition. Hall Mad 4. This is probably a lame answer, but I gotta say Link, specifically from Breath of the Wild, although I love Skyward Sword too. Apparently in the Japanese version of the game, the missions are actually written like Link's diary, and it's given him a lot of character. It's a very nice insight to his thoughts, plus the reasoning as to why he doesn't speak is low-key heartbreaking. The thing is like that I've only ever played Breath of the Wild once. My perspective is always just from that 2017 playthrough. I wish I did have like a little bit more perspective on Link, but I love Link's design. I can say that for sure in Breath of the Wild. I think it's probably one of his best designs ever. Top three Link designs. That's another list I could do. That's another list I could do. Annalise Kuhanen. I'm so bad at names. Dorian from Breath of the Wild because Sheikah is super cool. Yes. Coco and Colta are the best. Spoiler, even though probably everyone knows it by now. Yes. I really love his sad Yiga Khan Black story. And yes, you are evil. I've always been evil. Alright? I'm going to keep picking... Because everyone's calling me evil, I'm going to pick even a harder question next month. I'm going to be like, what's one game you only want to play that game for the rest of your life or something? I don't know. But yeah, no, great pick as well. I'm sorry for being so evil, but I feel like these questions are really interesting because the more evil the question is, the more interesting the answer. Kaisha Richards. Midna 100%. Again, just a fantastic character. I can never pronounce his name, but I think it's written in like some language I don't know. Maybe it's a language I should know. Navi, but no, it's Lanayru. It's Skyward Sword. Again, another great pick. Anything in Skyward Sword. The characters are so well done in that game. I love Skyward Sword to death. I truly, truly do. Don't expect it in character for me because I'm not into Zelda series at all. Those games aren't my type at all. Okay, Emil, that's perfectly fine. That was the last one. Emil, you ended it off with a bang. Well done, Emil. Actually, we got, believe it or not, we got about the same amount of comments that we got last month, but I feel like I'm kind of getting better at like answering and talking about the topics without going on too long of a winded conversation about it, even though I really do want to talk about a lot of these. I thank you so much for contributing to this series, guys. It's one of my favorite things to do. I think a lot of times, a lot of people probably might think that this is probably one of the easier things to do, but I feel like this is probably like the hardest thing I do apart from like edited and scripted videos, because it's you don't know what you're gonna get. I don't look at them beforehand. I like the spontaneous nature of it. You don't know if someone's gonna insult your taste. I really love doing these though, because it's fun to like not only record these, but to also like edit these and add music to them as well. Guys, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you guys very soon. Bye bye.